How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's Loronline here again today, bringing you yet another video, and today I'm going to be covering all of Star Wars: The Old Republic in general, from Star Wars' narrative story arc all the way to flashpoints and operations. On top of that, if you have not actually played Star Wars: The Old Republic before, this is the ideal video for you, because of course throughout this video I'm going to be explaining basically everything you should definitely consider doing before the end of SWTOR in a couple of years' time. So, sit back, prepare yourself, because this is going to be some seriously awesome Star Wars content. So before we start the video, I thought I'd cover what Star Wars: The Old Republic is. Now, for those of you who don't know, it's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game formerly known as an MMORPG based in the Star Wars universe. To be more specific, the Old Republic MMO takes place 3,000 years before the prequel trilogy, so this is in a time when the Empire has just re-risen to power and has declared war on the Republic. The Grand Republic has retaliated, and currently there is a massive war going on across the galaxy. There have been other factions appearing, such as the Hutt Cartel and the Zakulian Empire, but dominantly, it is a war between the Republic and the Empire. This coverage of the expanded universe has made Star Wars: The Old Republic a beloved and cherished game by all Star Wars fans and MMO fans alike. So it's fair to say this could be one of the most beloved and cherished MMOs in the whole of its genre. It combines the Star Wars universe that we all know and love with the MMO style gameplay that many players adore. Which brings us to the topic of this video. Of course, Star Wars: The Old Republic is an MMO, so at some point it will die down, and once it starts to die down, the devs will close it, especially with EA running the show. So the idea is I want to include as much of the stuff, as much of the content from Star Wars: The Old Republic as I can in this video, and explain to you why it is on the must-do list. And it's something you should definitely do while Star Wars: The Old Republic is active and live. So for those of you who are new to the game, go out and subscribe right now, give it a go, because I'm sure 1 month of subscription is going to bankrupt you. If not, and you don't really want to subscribe, it's free to play up to level 50. Basically, there's tons of content for you to do, whether or not you can afford it, so I definitely suggest going over to the Star Wars: The Old Republic website, SWTOR.com, and downloading the free-to-play game. Now, without further ado, let's get down to the must-do SWTOR list. Starting off the video very strong today, guys, we have group content, or more specifically PvE related content. Now, Star Wars: The Old Republic has a wide array of various group content materials, including flashpoints, uprisings and operations, which in comparison to other MMOs would normally be called dungeons and raids. Star Wars: The Old Republic offers your traditional method of having a tank, 2 DPS and a healer, or in larger operations you will often have 2 tanks, 4 DPS and 2 healers. This then spans into 16-man operations as well. So for those of you who have not engaged in Star Wars: The Old Republic's group content, I definitely suggest going and giving it a go. You can sign up for your first flashpoint after you've left the starting planet at level 10, whether it's on the Republic or Imperial fleets. Once you've obtained your quest for your first flashpoint, you will receive a 30 to 60 minute instance-based quest that offers slow, progressive engaging mechanics for new players. Now, flashpoints are considered to be very immersive and can bring the game to life, especially for new players, because it offers a lot of narrative content, and flashpoints also prepare new players for harder, more engaging operation content later on. Which brings us to operations. Now, operations, or ops for short, are made for 8 to 16-man groups and require a great deal of cooperation. Operations feature a wide range of mechanics from tank swaps to DPS checks, and of course, all these mechanics can vary in difficulty. Basically, I'd recommend trying out some of Star Wars: The Old Republic's group content. Next up on our list today, we have player versus player content, including open world PvP and Warzone PvP. Unlike most MMOs, player versus player content in Star Wars: The Old Republic is very unique. It's a very special feeling when you fight someone in Star Wars: The Old Republic. There's a lot to take into account, such as one's gear rating, the class that they play, and of course the skill required to play that class, and overthrow the competing class. Obviously, classes such as DPS will have a natural advantage over tanks and healers, but still there's an element of skill there that I don't think you find in other MMOs. To focus in specifically on one outlet of PvP, I'd like to look more at OW PvP or open world PvP. On servers such as Ebonhawk, Harbinger, the Red Eclipse, you will find an abundancy of open world PvP offered in the form of guild events or just casual PvP in places such as Outlaw's Den on Tatooine. Open world PvP in Star Wars The Old Republic is not only beautiful and magnificent to observe, but is also very engaging once you get involved, and as well as that, it is very rewarding, meaning you can receive titles as well as many achievements just for running around and killing people on the planet casually, which I think is rather astonishing in comparison to most MMOs that don't really encourage open world PvP because they see it as ganking. Which is why, in regards to PvP, I would definitely recommend Star Wars The Old Republic's open world PvP content. Next up on our Must Do SWTOR list, we have roleplay content, roleplay events, and role combat. Roleplay in general spans across the gaming industry and is very common in most MMOs. Star Wars The Old Republic specifically offers the correct utilities and tools that enables players to really express their roleplay, and of course offers to the players the Star Wars universe, which is a very unique IP that I believe is one of the most entertaining and engaging immersive universes to roleplay in. Roleplay in Star Wars The Old Republic is enabled through the chat log system in the form of Say Chat, Yell, and of course the IC, which is in-character chat. You can also talk out of character using the OOC chat, as well as the party chat, the trade chat, and the guild chats, depending on the roleplay guild you're in. In addition to the chat system, SWTOR offers an emote system that players can use to express body language in the form of movement with your actual character model. Following this as well, you can express your personalities and feelings through the personality system and mood system that allows you to change your facial expressions in-game. And for those of you that would like to create in-depth character backstories in the Star Wars universe, SWTOR even offers an in-game wiki or a codex where players can read up on their character's lore, various factions' lore, as well as the lore of the general universe, including the expanded universe, all without even tabbing out, and I think that is a remarkable aspect to this MMO. SWTOR's RP specifically is considered to be some of the best of the MMO genre. Not only does Star Wars The Old Republic offer some of the best utilities in-game, but Star Wars The Old Republic enables players to progress their backstories out of game on the Star Wars The Old Republic official forums, or on sites such as Engine, where players and guilds can create their own websites and forums to actively encourage further roleplay outside of the game, and I think having all these external assets to improve your character's roleplay is a great addition to the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO, and is definitely a unique selling point in itself. With all these various resources available to the player, I definitely recommend roleplay in Star Wars The Old Republic as one of your must-dos. Whether you join a guild or create your own with friends, you have to give RP a go. Next up on Must Do SWTOR, we have the narrative and storyline content featured within the MMO. Now, the reason that I would recommend Star Wars The Old Republic's narrative content to your average new player is because Star Wars The Old Republic, unlike most MMOs, offers 8 separate class storylines, all of which see the world unfold through a different perspective. For example, you can play the Jedi Knight and see the campaign unfold similarly to the movies, or you can go and play a trooper and take that different tangent and see the world unfold from the perspective of your average soldier. And I think because of that, the campaign content really does stand out. In addition to that, you are actually not even limited to the Republic side. You can go and play an Imperial character or your stereotypical antagonist character, such as the Sith Warrior or the Sith Inquisitor. Beyond that, you can create a bounty hunter character that features a Mandalorian stylized story arc, or even create a smuggler which incorporates a storyline similarly to Han Solo in the movies, which technically would be referred to as a spacer themes narrative. But my point is, there is a lot of potential out there in terms of storyline content in Star Wars The Old Republic. In extension to the class story content, the game even offers a main story arc in the form of expansions, where the player plays the Outlander character and follows him through the DLC content. This features a storyline concerning the former KOTOR protagonist Revan, and even moves on to a plot concerning Vitiate, better known as the Emperor. All this is incorporated into a new faction that is only referred to as Zakul, but I don't want to spoil anything. I think you should definitely go give it a go for yourself and see what you think. I'd suggest SWTOR story content to anyone looking for an immersive sci-fi themed experience. Not only does SWTOR offer a huge array of various Star Wars storylines, but the MMO enables the player to enjoy a massive expanded universe with thousands of lines of dialogue, cutscenes, and decisions that ultimately differ your playthrough from other players. Not only do your decisions alter your playthrough, but a lot of your decisions are actually quite meaningful, especially in the most recent expansion, the Iokath expansion, so I definitely recommend giving that a go if you haven't already. Unlike other MMOs, Star Wars The Old Republic's narrative content allows you to engage in the Republic and the Imperial War and actually alter and affect the outcome, especially in the Iokath expansion. So, to summarize, if you haven't leveled a character in Star Wars The Old Republic yet, I definitely recommend creating an account, free to play or subscription, and then experiencing the MMO for all it's worth, because SWTOR is some of the best story content in the MMO genre, and I promise you, it's worth investing your time in the game's unbelievable narrative. Next up on Must Do SWTOR, we have world events and events that occur on a weekly to monthly basis within Star Wars The Old Republic. So to start off, I'd like to just very quickly explain how events work in Star Wars The Old Republic. Now, I'm sure those of you who are very familiar with MMOs in general will know that an event is a specific time period that is either weekly or seasonal that allows players to get unique or specific items dedicated to that event. During the time frame of the event, you will receive a unique quest. This quest can only be done during that period. These quests could be either heroics, operation bosses, or even regular quests that you do on a day-to-day. Now, bringing that over to Star Wars The Old Republic, SWTOR has had quite a few awesome events over the years. More specifically, the world events have been events such as the Grand Acquisition. We've had events concerning the Dark vs. Light, which were leveling events, and we've also had the original Rancor Plague events. So these events can no longer be done, so they're sort of out the picture now. But in terms of weekly events you can still do, we have the regular Rancor Plague, we have the Gree event, the Nar Shaddaa Nightlife event, the Bounty Hunter Brokers Association event, and a few others. But in contrast to many other MMOs, Star Wars The Old Republic offers to the table some of the most unique events that you will find in the MMO genre. Now, the reason I think you should go out and try some of SWTOR's events is basically because competing MMOs such as World of Warcraft that has seasonal events, and other such MMOs like Guild Wars 2 that has monthly events, don't offer the same sort of event style content that Star Wars does. SWTOR brings to the table a whole unique questing system that I think is really unique. There is no external factors concerning the quest, everything is internal to the event. So for example, the Rancor event, the entirety of the event is about exterminating the plague and stopping it from spreading. As the player, you can get actively involved in this and go through the Rancor tunnels and try and purge out the Rancor infection. There is even a boss at the end of it, an operation boss called the Eyeless. If you take this over to the Gree event as well, for example, you can go through the entirety of the Gree event and at the very end fight this boss called the Exoanalysis, which is an incredibly tough boss fight on an operation level. And the reason I think you should give it a try is because all the content is very well thought out and you can tell the devs have put a lot of effort into it. Moving on now to our next topic, we have very simply exploration. Exploration is a crucial aspect to any MMO, but Star Wars The Old Republic specifically has a universe that you can explore and engage in unlike any other MMO universe to date. To elaborate, SWTOR offers to the players a universe that can be quickly travelled with ease and navigated with little hassle. This is done through the system known as the Galactic World Map, where players can simply press Ctrl-M, bring up the universe map and navigate themselves to any planet they desire with little hassle. This is done through the personal starship that all players receive at around level 20. Unlike other MMOs, Star Wars The Old Republic encourages players to actively revisit planets and explore planets thoroughly. They do this through the use of Seeker Droid quests and GSI quests. These quests both encourage players to use various equipments to scan the scenery and locations of these planets to fight unique and mysterious bosses. These locations in question are not always easy to find, so Star Wars The Old Republic players have to really look around and investigate these planets and regions to find these specific devices. Furthermore, Star Wars The Old Republic encourages players to go back and revisit even the tiny niche hidden areas of these planets to find items called datacrons. These datacrons are also used to buff your stats up, which gives players who are on a more higher level of game progression the incentive to really go back and get these datacrons so they can compete on a competitive level in PvP and PvE content. Focusing more so on the planets now, Star Wars The Old Republic features a wide array of various planets that are featured not only in the movies, but are also featured within the original content of Star Wars The Old Republic's predecessor, KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2. The planets in question are of course Taris, Korriban, Tatooine, and Manaan. And if that's not enough to convince you to go and explore, then it's worth me mentioning the fact that you can go to Coruscant, Nar Shaddaa, Dromund Kaas, Yavin 4, and many other planets. But my point is, Star Wars The Old Republic has such a wide and diverse universe, so it would be wrong not to at least recommend it. But that's enough of that. For now, I'd like to move on with Must Do SWTOR and focus in more specifically on character customization options available to the player in-game. Right, so to start us off today, let's talk about customization in Star Wars The Old Republic upon creating your character. So when you log into the game, you have a whole bunch of character customization options available to you off the bat. Once you've chosen your class, you're allowed to then choose your species, and each species has a unique set of customization options available specifically to them. On top of that, you can also have bespoke add-ons to your customization, such as complexions, as well as different hairstyles, and on top of that you can have scars and tattoos, all of which improve the character's appearance and makes it more bespoke towards your desires, so you can make your ideal character in Star Wars The Old Republic with minimal effort. On top of that, you can then log into the game and obtain currency through the use of cartel coins. This currency can then be used to purchase packs or direct item sales, and once you obtain these items you can then upgrade your character in-game even more with various cosmetic items. If you don't want to spend real money on the game, you don't have to. You can go to the GTN or the Galactic Trade Network and purchase items that other players have put up for sale. Some of these are quite expensive, especially the more desirable and better looking armor sets, but the point is you can create any sort of character you want in the Star Wars The Old Republic universe without putting that much energy or effort into it, which I think is a real unique selling point for this game. Furthermore, you can also buy vanity items in-game that help you express your character's personality that little bit more. These items can be anything from regenerative items that replace moves, to toys and gifts and fun things that you can use to just run around and express your characteristics as a player. In addition to that, you can actually buy a homestead in the Star Wars The Old Republic universe using the Stronghold system. Currently there is actually quite a variety of strongholds, including planets such as Droman Kars, Coruscant, Nar Shaddaa, Yavin 4, and of course soon to be announced Manaan. There is also Tatooine and a few others coming in the far future. Not to mention the fact that all the homestead items are actually customizable in terms of decorations, so you can actually invest in a pool of various decorations in the Star Wars The Old Republic universe that you can use to add a personal flair to your stronghold. Which brings us to the final aspects of customization in Star Wars The Old Republic. This is of course titles, flares and tunings. Now titles can be obtained by accomplishing various things in the Star Wars The Old Republic universe. There are flares, which are unique symbols that you can put on your character profile, so when people click on your account, there's a unique flare there like a character border, which looks pretty damn cool. And then of course there are tunings, and tunings are the more recently added item that allow players to have various cosmetic attachments to their guns that makes their weapons stand out that little bit more. You can have anything varying from a volatile effect to a strap on your saber, or maybe a saber that has a little bit of Ratghoul plague infection. So there's a whole bunch of customization options in terms of making your character that little bit more unique, which is why it's definitely a must-do on this list. So there we are guys, let's quickly wrap up the video here. If you have not downloaded Star Wars The Old Republic, I definitely recommend going over to the official Star Wars The Old Republic site and giving this game a quick download, even if you're just a free-to-play player, or of course if you're preferred status, or if you're up for paying that subscription fee for a month, I definitely recommend going to the official site and giving this game a quick download. On top of that, you have to bear in mind Star Wars The Old Republic has been around for 5 years now, so there is a lot of content to play there, everything from the original release of the game all the way up to the Knights of the Eternal Throne expansion and everything in between. So there is so much to do now in terms of operation content, flashpoints, uprisings, PvP, story mode narrative, and of course customization, everything I've covered throughout this video. In addition to all of that as well, the forums are very active, so if you have a question for the devs, feel free to go over there and hit them up a quick comment. You will probably get a reply because that's how active our dev team is. Moving on from all of that as well, I'd even recommend this game to players who have been existing pros in the MMO genre. If you think you're an experienced World of Warcraft player, or maybe an Elder Scrolls Online player, Guild Wars 2 player, Terra player, WildStar, it goes on and on. If you think you've got a lot of experience in this genre, I'd still recommend this game to you because unlike most MMOs, this game has a lot of narrative driven content, so it is very story focused, and to have a multiplayer environment that is story focused is really quite an immersive experience. I definitely recommend giving it a go, even if you think you've sussed the genre out completely. And let's not forget, once an MMO goes down, it's down forever. I've seen so many of my friends get all worked up wishing they could go back to Galaxies, or maybe the Pirates of the Caribbean MMO or the Doctor Who MMO, and they can't now because of course the servers are down. Sure, there are emulators, but it's not the exact same experience as it once was when the game was up and live and there was content continuously coming out. So I think everyone should get the most out of this game while they still can, and then consider moving on in the future, because if we don't get the most out of this game now, it's just going to go down someday and we're going to wish we did it. So I'd suggest jumping on the bandwagon now, giving it a go, and seeing if you like the Star Wars The Old Republic's content. If not, that's fine, because of course it's just a video game. It's all about having fun, all about enjoying yourself, and really investing in the community of these games. And there we have it guys, Must Do SWTOR. I really hope this video has encouraged you to maybe consider giving Star Wars The Old Republic a chance if you haven't already. And on top of that, I'd really like to thank you for watching this video. I've put a lot of time and effort into this one, and I'd like to think this is probably my most ambitious video project I've ever done. It's taken me about a month of editing to put together and record and film and all that stuff, but I'd like to think it's paid off. Anyway, that's enough from me now. Thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys.